And the healing vibration round through. So the doors are open. So give me a moment. I'll be right there. We're going to check everybody in. Hold on. Let's get some sound going. Let's see. I got to press some more buttons. Press some more buttons over here. Let's have a look. Let's try that. See where that leads us. I got to press some. Okay, so we press the mute. Aha! All right, let's I just put a bit of background music here. Let's have a look. And I'm going to start checking people in just a second. Stay right there. Don't go away, folks. Yay! We made it, folks. We made it. Woo! Yeah. Oh, yes. I become alive before the sun does rise. Okay, I'm going to start taking names. Hold on. When the sun does rise, I reach up for the sky. Kelly. Kelly M. Rhoda. Cherry, hi Cherry. Shaking out the poison. Natasha, hi Natasha. Well, Sherelle, hi Sherelle. Inside us, love is the word. Just letting you know. Indy. Tina, hi Tina. Welcome. Tina B. Bishop. M dash. Stealth name. That's your online stealth name, isn't it? Sarah Gonzalez. Sarah G. Sarah G. Got that. The healing vibrations right up through my soul. Lisa. Well, you made it this week. Hi, Lisa T. Rose Mandano. Rose M. Is the word. Yay, yay, yay. Sweet basil the herb. Just gonna call you Sweet basil. Okay. Who else is here? Sharon Tio. Yay. Sharon Tio. And yes, it's you, Leona. Yes, it's me. I command the weary shadows be gone before my eyes. Jason, welcome Jason S. How's it going, Jason? Shaking out the poisons, making me whole. Casting out the seasons by changing the world. Uh-oh, hold on, wait a minute. There's a lot of... Slow down, people. Love is the word. I can't keep up. Oh, M-Knox, I got M-Knox. By chanting the word, the sounds of Linda C. Resonate inside us, love is the word. For sure, we know that. We knew that. Natalia. Sarabia Chavez, Natalia. I'm just going to call you Natalia, okay? Okay, everybody dance. Okay. Keep to the groove. You know what to do. I'm just going to call you Hierophant, okay? Hierophant. I'm just going to leave it like that, okay? Hope you don't mind. Welcome, All Sun. Good evening. Good evening. Yay, welcome. All Sun is bringing the light. Kaboom, yay. Hi, Kristan. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, no, yeah, yeah. Love is the word. Yeah, yeah. Love is the word. Hey, Josie. Josie T, all right, Josie T. And Sammy Hong. Sammy Hong, okay. Yeah, love is the word. Oh, wait a minute, did I get Patricia? Did I get you already? No, I did not. Okay, let's have a look. Everybody check in, say hello to everybody else. Gerardo, hello. Gerardo. Okay, we're just gonna let the song roll again because there's more names to check in. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with you guys, all right? Bear with me. Karine Arfin. Karine. Okay, we're gonna have to go to another piece here. Hold on. Let's keep going. I got you, Indy. Lena, no green effects. Lena. No green effects. Okay, that's you, all right, Lena? Maria, hi Maria, welcome. How's Arkansas? From Arkansas, I believe. That's the Maria we're talking about. So you made it, Knox. It's all working. Everything's working. You can see it. Good. My favorite. Good evening. Favorite D for darkness. Finale. Finale B. Got you. I got you. We got Lisa. Hellenic. Hellenic. Got you. Giving thanks to heaven that I'm still alive. Jill. Hi, Jill from Michigan. Jill from Michigan. I'm going to give you a reading, Jill. I'm going to give you a reading. Healing vibrations. Oh, 11111. 11111. The sons of the universe. Fidelia. Fidelia. Love is the word. Fidelia. DB. Okay, let's see who else is here. Who else came to the show? Hey, Father. Oh, wait a minute. I got someone else. Hold on. I missed somebody. Wait a minute. Bear with me. No. Oh, I keep messing up. Hold on. Stay there. Don't go away. Shadows be gone before my eyes. Father Lucifer, Father L. How's it going? Happy go lucky, happy go. Casting out diseases by chanting the words. The sounds of the universe by all will be heard. Breathing inside us, love is the word. Hi, Jessica. The healing vibrations around my soul. Elizabeth. I didn't get you earlier. Hold on. No, I didn't. Elizabeth. resonate inside us. Love is the word. Pam, Pam G. Gotcha, Pam. Hi, Father Lucifer. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. Precious, 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 precious. Hi, precious. I got you. Keep the dance going, people. Keep it going. I still got to catch up with you guys. Did I get you, Valerie? Hold on. I'm going to put you here, Valerie. I don't think I got you. Hello, Lane. Good evening, Lane McDougall. Hello, Lane McDougall. Lane McGee. I'm going to give you a reading. I didn't get you earlier, Gabby girl. Gabrielle. I'm just going to call you Gabby G. All right, hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to turn the sound down on music for a little bit so we can check in. I need to get back down to earth here, people. Terra Illumination to earth, or people on earth. We're checking in with Terra Illumination now. I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to get everybody listed, you know, like to keep records, you know, the guest list and all that. And of course, you know that here tonight, everyone is special, you know, because that's just how we are, okay? So we're all very special, and you already know the prime energy here is all about love you first. So that's why you're special, because you're one of those people who are brave enough to love you first. So let's have a look. I'm sure I've missed out on a few people. So wait a minute, what's this one? Who's this? Web Team Management. I'm just going to call you WTM, okay? WTM. There's a line here. All right, something like that. All right, something like that. Pink Royalty. Wow. Okay. Now, I hope we can live up to this, folks. Pink Royalty is here tonight, folks. So we better be on our best behavior. Hold on. KB. KB is in the house. Thank you. Hi, KB. And we've got Christy Banks. Christy B. I'll just say Christy B, okay? All right, let's see if that works. Dee Dee Fountain. Hey. Okay. I didn't get that earlier. I know I didn't get you. I'm pretty sure I didn't. DDF. Okay, that's Dee Dee there. I think I got you, Sarah Gonzalez. I think so. I think I got you here early on the first page. Okay, so I got you. So everybody, I got you. Yes, it's me. I've got that over here. Yes, it's me, Leona. I put you here. Okay. Yes, it's me. Okay, you're there. All right, let's have a look. I got to check in, see who else is around. Did I get her? Katie Elizabeth, I got you. I got you. Delia, hold on. Wait a minute. What do you say? Doctors know how. Ty's mom. Okay, Ty's mom. Hi. I didn't see that earlier. Ty's mom. Hi, Ty's mom. By the way, this is kind of a clean channel. There's a couple of moms here who bring their kids to watch the show. And there's one lady who comes here sometimes. She's got some of those wires. You can jiggle it around with your whatever device or something. And she puts it on her big screen TV. She watches Terra Illumination Sunday Night Live on the big screen. Yay. So that's a big deal for me over here. Thank you very much. I feel very, very, you know, flattered. Patagonia? Holy jeepers. Wait a minute. Sorry. I'm getting a little bit of a cherry picking thing going on here tonight. You're going to get a reading. Renee Boyette. Okay, and Strange Lady. Hold on. There's more people checking in. I didn't see all of you. Hold on. Bear with me. Stay there. Stay there. Oh. Renee. Oh, Renee. Oh, I don't even know how to spell. Pardon me. Sorry. Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Good evening. I'll see you soon. Wait a minute. I got to get the last one there. Evie Saint. Hello, Evie Saint. It's the first time. Okay. Evie Saint. Well, you know what happens? Sometimes we haze people. Yeah, we do that on this show. Now, I know I missed somebody's name there just a minute ago. Stay there. I'm focusing all my energy on the screen right now. It's very hard for me to do this so that you know. Oh, Sherry. Okay. All right. Cherry, let's have a look. Where's Cherry? Yeah, well, Cherry, you're going to get cherry picked. So there you go. If I can find your name on this wacko list here. Okay. I'm just making a couple of like little notes in advance. I'm just going to start. You know, there's no order to any of this. Every week we make it up as we go along. At least I do, because I used to have a sort of a system, and then it kind of didn't make sense. So we tried other things. We started to try asking, you know, question and answer, and whoever got the right answer gets a reading. We tried, you know, birthdays and things like that, and we tried all sorts of things. But in the end, like, it's just like there's still no logic. Wait a minute, I see somebody. Aaron. Aaron, okay. Hi, Aaron. Good evening. Yeah, hazing. Yeah, hazing. Yeah, I'm glad you understand. You don't take it personally. Yeah. I guess it's one of those evenings, like whoever screams the loudest, you know, like the squeaky wheel gets oiled. Maybe it's just one of those nights. So I'm going to start putting some names down. I'm going to put some names down, people. Now, there's someone here. Oh, Rain. That's the one I missed. I missed Rain Always. Rain Always. Okay. And I spelt Renee. There's Renee's here somewhere, but I didn't spell it very well. I'm sorry about that. So let's have a look. I'm going to. So I'm just going to, let me just put the names out here so that people can see. I'm just going to fill up the whole screen with names. And then hopefully everybody can see, you know, where they are. Hold on, let's do it like that. Does that make sense? Can everybody see their name? No, I got you, Aaron. You're right there. Okay. Sweet Basil, are you loud enough to get a reading? Are you screaming loud enough to get a reading? Good question. Now, on this super fancy system that I have for the private readings, yeah, you could actually scream your head off and we could see you and watch you doing it. But most people are pretty camera shy when it comes to this stuff. And look what I did. I found you, Sweet Basil. There you are. Yeah, yeah. Precious Moments is sending lots of pineapples to the show tonight. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Da, da. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, so Indy. Wait a minute. I know you're here. I saw you. Screaming loud. Screaming loud. Yeah. I've never done it like this before. It's just kind of rude. It's just because it just turns into like a massive like turf war, you know? Valerie, I got you, Valerie. Yeah, you can see. So everybody can see their names. Good. All right. Yeah. 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 All right. So I'm going to take away. I'm going to write down the first names that we had marked, and let's get going. Lane McDonald, McD. Is it Laney or Laney McD? Hold on. Here we go. Lane McD. Okay. Getting a reading. All right. Jill N. from Michigan. M. from Michigan. You're getting a reading. So who knew? Totally random. There's no point in getting all in a fluster or getting your pants in a twist about all this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I wouldn't expect it to make any sense to you guys, okay? Gerardo from, I think you said Argentina, or was it Patagonia? I'll put both, just in case you travel a lot. Patagonia or Argentina. Pick ever which one ever it is. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I just couldn't remember what it is or where it was. Sherry, you're getting one, okay? There you go. Sherry. Okay, now someone else was really screaming loud there. Oh, Patagonia is in Argentina. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Oh. I hope I got everybody's names. Yeah, let's do sushi. Hey, everybody, we're all going over to Favorite's place for sushi tomorrow. So I hope you can handle it, Favorite. It's going to be awesome. Make sure we have a little bit of everything, okay? Because it's going to be a big crowd. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. Right. So, silly stuff. This whole tarot illumination thing, it's such a wacky world, you know? I mean, tarot, when you think about it, it's completely nuts. Who invented this thing? Who made this all up? I'm going to pull a couple more names while I'm at it. Hold on. Did I do that already? Wait a minute. No. Hold on. I got some names here. Let's just leave it at that for now. I'll come back to some of these boxes in a little bit. Let's start the show, folks. Let's start the show. It's about time. Oh. Gotta please. Okay. Oh, God. Screaming so like you're vomiting. I mean, that's a problem. That's a big mess. I don't want to have to be responsible for cleanup. Chanel. Okay, I see you. I see you on the board. There it is. I'm just going to put a box around your name, okay? I don't know if ever we're going to get there. We'll see what happens. So, yeah. Let's just pretend, okay, we're all out here at the Tarot Lumination Campfire. It's a big fire tonight. We got 50 people in the house. It's very crowded, so it's going to get hot and sweaty. I hope you don't mind. I hope you brought lots and lots of thermal underwear and gloves and hats and scarves, because we are heading into winter for some of you guys. Okay, so also, you know, I hope you got all your hot dogs, marshmallows, thermoses full of hot chocolate, all that good stuff. So we're starting with Sherry, and then we do Jill, then Gerardo, and then Lane McD. Okay, so we got 4 up. Let's get started. Okay, here we go, folks. I hope you're ready. Hold on, I need some sip of cranberry juice. Ha 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 ha. Ah. Did you miss what, Elaine K? No, you didn't miss anything. It's just another night here with Tarot Illumination Sunday Night Live. It's the same old, same old. We've been doing it for months now. Okay? Oh, Cha Edwin's in the house. Hi, Cha. So, Let's have a look. I'm glad you're talking amongst yourselves. You know what you have to do now. This is the time of the night where you're going to have to make friends with each other because, like, if you picture the campfire, let's just make a quick doodle so that you kind of get the atmosphere here. You know, I like to make doodles. Wait a minute. No, Pink Royalty 22. Wait a minute. I think you got that. No. No, 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 no. You know what? Sorry, Pink Royalty. You know what? You're going to get hazed. Tonight, if this is your first time ever, Pink Royalty, you're going to get hazed. In fact, I'm going to make sure you get hazed. So there we go. Okay, so it's favoritism. Who cares? I'm trying to like butter up to the royalty here, but you know, that's how it all works in the old days, you know. You try to make yourself very appealing to the royalty so that they take you into their family and give you lots of cool stuff. And you inherit a knighthood or a sir this or a lady that. Or maybe I'll inherit a huge castle or something. Okay? So, you know, I'm just sucking up to the royalty. I'm sorry, people, I can't help it. What's the word for that? People, what's the word? A sycophant. I'm a sycophant. Well, I don't mean that in a sick way, but, you know. Anyway, nothing offensive meant there. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Oops. Sorry. Sorry. Language. Yeah, it's a big deal here. When your name goes on the post-it, that's a big deal. Aaron is new to the tarot? Oh, gosh. Poor Aaron. Oh, gosh. Well, don't sweat. Don't worry about it. Just pretend you're kind of going into a secret private magic club. You know where they do sleight of hand? You know those magicians who do, what's it called? That kind of magic, which is very, it's anyway, there's a very fancy word for magic where they use the hands very, very close up. So that's what we do here. It's basically a magic show for kids and adults. That's what we do here. So cards are already well shuffled in advance. But in terms of protocols, here's what I'm suggesting. I was going to make this doodle for you. Hold on. So, you know, there's the campfire, you know, a big pile of wood over here, and the flames are burning bright over here, and it's full of love and light and abundance, and we all love ourselves, we all love each other, and we're supporting each other. And there's a little tarot illumination over here, just doing what we do, and there's all of you guys over here around the campfire. And so all I'm suggesting is, you know, whoever ends up here for a reading, okay, so we're kind of interfacing face on face like that, whoever that is, that's great, because that's all my attention will be focused here. But for the rest of you, just go for it. It's an open campfire, so you guys can hang out with each other and support each other, and also like we do on the show sometimes, if there's other tarot readers and you want to chip in or offer alternative readings, if somebody has a breakdown or they have a hysterical fit, or they, you know, things get a little upsetting or whatever, we can provide some alternate perspective. Sometimes the readings come out and they don't make much sense to the poor visitor, but they could be perfect for someone else here or here. So just allow for lots of wiggle room on the show, okay? All right, here we go. Yeah, and it really does help if you can read smoke signals. Yes, it really, really helps. So, Jerry, you're up. I hope you're ready, Jerry, because you are up. It's your turn. So we're going to go for it. Okay, look, here's an example. Happy-go-lucky. She just wrote in and she said, hey, everybody, I make aromatherapy jewelry. You see, we would never have known unless you told us. So now you know. Happy-go-lucky makes aromatherapy jewelry. Who knew? I didn't even know that such a thing existed until now. All right, Cherry, this is it. This is your moment. So hang in. It's just you and me right now. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. So, Sherry, you're up. What's the situation, huh? And what's the challenge here? And how are we going to handle this, okay? And what's the circumstantial energy? What's the weather out there? It's not going to own you. You're going to own the weather, okay? You've got the Knight of Swords. So, Cherry, if you're feeling like your circumstances are like, if there's a lot of what I feel like static, where, you have that kind of buzzy feel in the power, when you have those big pylons and they carry electricity across the country in those big, like swirly, things, like this, and all the wires go in between like that. And I know how sometimes there's a lot of static and they kind of buzz. Bzz, 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 bzz. That's what I feel is going on here right now for you, Sherry, where there might be a lot of mental activity, thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, I should. There's perhaps a lot of information coming into you from the great beyond, to the point where it might be overwhelming. Also, at the same time, wanting to transmit what you know and understand to the same volume. Okay, so it's a lot of it's like being supercharged. That's what I feel right now. Wanting to understand the truth, wanting to convey the truth. What's the situation? King of Pentacles. Now we're just going to read energy, okay, Cherry? I'm not talking about relationships or anything. It's just energy. My feeling, Cherry, is that if you are not feeling like the King of Pentacles, then this would be something that you would like to feel, like to own, like to be, and perhaps it's where you aspire right now. In other words, it would be so cool to be like the King of Pentacles. It's like, how can we do this? How can we make this happen? Is it possible? Is it possible to meet this person? Is it possible to be this person myself? I'm kind of pretending I'm you now, Cherry, that's all. So it could also indicate that you are on a pathway to come into self-mastery to this level, where it's coming into a greater and fuller understanding of your material world, having grasp of it, having control of it, having, let's say, locking it down in a way that works. And even if that's not you and your energy, it's certainly, let's say, like bringing in the right person or the right people for that to happen. And so even if you don't have this right now, it's possible to be this by your intention, by deliberately setting the intentions and admitting the desire that it would be nice to be this way. The King of Pentacles is essentially a master of the material realm. Okay, and they just didn't land there. It's a tremendous journey to start from scratch and end up as the King of Pentacles. Just letting you know, Cherry. Okay, so it's not like you can just get her overnight. Let's have a look. What's the challenge? Okay, well, it's a little bit hard to, there's a lot of these. Sherry, that's a girl's name, right? But these are very strong masculine cards. And also, with the Knight of Swords back here, kind of like circumstantial energy, my feeling here is that there might be some very important decisions going on that, let's going to say, are going to affect you in quite a strong way, one way or another, in a very significant way, in the way that your material world starts to pan out going down the future, down the road, where it's almost like if you don't take charge of your three-dimensional world, like the nuts and bolts of reality, things like jobs, money, credit, finance, mortgages, loans, college payments, whatever it is, alimony, palimony, all of those kind of really, really important things. If the truth of the matter is not dealt with face on in the most perhaps painful way, but also the most truthful way, then it could be, let's say, like easy to be, let's say, to skid off the side of a road, almost like into a roadside ditch, where things could go wrong pretty easily. But the King of Swords here in the challenging position, my feeling is that The challenge is to rise up to the degree of integrity and authority and mastery and honor and truth, especially if it comes down to legal matters or like ethical matters with yourself, deep at the soul of yourself, that can affect how your day-to-day life works out in the future. Because there might be a lot of at stake here, and it might require you to, like, even though being female, it might require you to tune into like the very like masculine side of yourself, which you might not be used to doing, and yet circumstance is calling you out, saying you need to rise up to the situation. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Okay, more swords, Sherry. I think really, really important message here is truth. I think it's really, really, really important to be willing to call out the truth in the situation, whatever it is. Like if you are in a legal situation with somebody, or if somebody's in a legal situation with you, and it's potentially affecting your finances or your stability or your prosperity in life and your stability and sovereignty of self, it's really important to deal with it in a very, very truthful, honest way, to the point where you have to be willing to call out the truth on yourself, be a vigilante, even a whistleblower, but also be willing to to call out the truth on others, even others who might appear very powerful and dominating and controlling to you, where you wouldn't normally dare to call out the truth. My feeling is that it's very, very important to get in touch with the truth. Well, I'm talking about absolute truth, things that are evident in law, evident in fact, evident in reality, as opposed to your own subjective truth or your opinions or your thoughts or your conditioning or anything like that. We're talking about absolute truth here, okay? Truth and honesty. Truth and honesty is very, very important here for you now, Sherry, going forward, okay? Thank you very much. I hope you get something out of this. Hope it works for you. You can always check in with tarotlumination.com and we can get into it, because this looks pretty serious, okay? Just letting you know. It's my opinion. That's your circumstantial card, just so that you have a full overview of your reading. There you go. All right. Thank you, Sherry. Next, Jill. Jill/M from Michigan. I believe you are a newcomer to the show. So I just thought, let's do a hazing. Just for fun. Just for fun. I know you can handle it. It's not a big deal. It's just a tarot reading, and you're just diving in the deep end. Okay, that's all. Everyone else is out there chatting amongst themselves, and that's great. And right now, Jill, it's just you and me. Okay, we're just going to go head to head here. Hopefully, it'll be fun and interesting. Hopefully, you'll get something out of it. I try not to get too detailed or too personal, because it's a public show and we're sharing this with everybody. But sometimes, we touch on a nerve, and we just deal with it as we go along, okay? All right, so Jill, cards are shuffled enough for now, and we're going to cut. We're going to do a serious fat cut there, and we're just going to dive in and go. All right, Jill, I hope you're ready. Okay. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. Circumstantial energy, the weather, okay? Make the best of it, like anyone would do. Star. So Jill, it's almost like it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, in your world right now. The key thing here is to understand, there is, hopes and wishes. There are dreams. There are ambitions and the desires. There is understanding, and there is believing, and then there's hoping. But on top of all of that, there is knowing. To know, okay? My feeling here with the circumstantial energy is very, very important for you to know for a fact, even if there is no evidence in your three-dimensional world, it's very, very important to know that you are guided and you are protected, okay? It doesn't have to make any sense to you in terms of your logical mind. Just treat it as like one of the laws of nature, okay? And it's very, very beautiful once you know that. Instead of hoping for it or wishing for it or praying for it, to know it. So let's just say it's time for you to know that you are guided and protected. Not just imagine it or wish for it or hope for it. None of that. It's full on knowledge and knowing. What's the situation? Okay. All right. With the Two of Pentacles, I don't know, you might be going through an awful lot of emotional turmoil right now. It could be in a relationship situation, friends and family, workplace, or perhaps very deeply internal. You just might be, really swirling around right now, trying to figure out who you are, what you're doing, how you're going to do it, when and where, and with who. All those questions. And it's very important, with this kind of circumstantial energy, to be willing to listen to the great beyond, where you are, when you are guided and you are protected. it, you've probably seen those crazy videos where there's these amazing car crashes and somebody walks out alive, or an amazing car crash and somebody photographs it and the spirit is brought up into heaven. It's that kind of energy. It's very important to understand that that stuff is real and accept it, even though it sounds very bizarre. um, some people sense it. It's very normal here at Tarot Illumination to pick that stuff up because it's like a high sensory perception environment here. That's what we do. And all of you are kind of like that anyway, simply because you're here at the show. You wouldn't be here otherwise. So anyway, it's important for you, Jill, to understand that no matter what kind of turmoil might be happening to you in your material world, if you're really going back and forth, trying to handle it, should I do this? Should I do that? How am I going to figure this out? How am I going to bring harmony and balance into my situation? Okay. Well, the thing is, you are doing it. You might not feel like it because you might feel like there's a lot of turbulence and whatever. But the reality is that you are, in your own way, doing it because whether you know it or like it or not, you're guided and protected. So that might feel very weird. What's the challenge with that? Okay, maybe it's to do with your love life. I don't want to be specific, but let's just say it's perhaps to do with, the past. Some people think of this as the soulmate card, the nostalgia card, the energy of a deeply beautiful, loving, profound relationship that already existed and that already has or had a history, perhaps even in a past life, even perhaps a dear childhood friend. But when I see this card, I often get the sense of past life relationships, where either that's an awareness that is coming into being, and sometimes it can be very, very disorienting to our current present day three-dimensional world, where it can set everything out of balance. And I get that a lot here on this channel with Tarot Illumination, where people get very, very disoriented and very out of balance because they're just regular folks living their three-dimensional life, and then someone else shows up in their world and it tips everything over. And the only way to explain it for a lot of people is they think of it as things like twin flames and soulmates, past life karmic relationships, past life love relationships, sometimes very challenging, sometimes very beautiful. But either way, it can be very, let's say, unsettling for the three-dimensional present moment. So when this shows up, it might be that you're in a situation where there is something from your past that perhaps included the energy of love, or particularly a loving relationship, which is perhaps beautiful in its own way, but also very challenging in its own way. And that's awkward. How are we going to deal with this? Okay, so if you're in a situation where a love relationship is putting you at odds with yourself and your world, to the point where you personally are feeling like so far out of balance, like with the Five of Pentacles here, that there's a possibility of rejection. Perhaps this is arriving in your world for a reason and a purpose, and it's very, let's say, unsettling, confusing, perhaps throwing things way out of balance, to the point where you're actually feeling it. It isn't just, excuse me, excuse me, it isn't just a a feeling or a worry anymore. It's an actual reality of like, oh my gosh, this could really upend things and make things awkward, almost to the point of feeling rejected, impoverished in heart, mind, body, and soul, one way or another, and make you feel as though your resources are in jeopardy. However, the key thing to understand here with the Five of Pentacles for you, Jill, is that it's perfectly okay, because it's probably, when you go back to this, if you think of this as like awareness coming to you into your life right now, this is something that you need to know, something that needs to be faced, understood. It's almost like you're being guided, being protected as you move into this situation, which could, on the surface, feel very unsettling, perhaps very disorienting, um, to the point where, you know, in three-dimensional world, it's almost like you could feel everything's collapsing. But the whole point is to become aware. There's a lot of spiritual awareness that's associated with this card. So for you, Jill, it might be, it's so important. The way to handle it is to understand that sometimes these situations of impoverishment are simply the result of decisions. Okay? Decisions that we make through our life, decisions that were made for us when we abdicated our responsibility to make decisions for ourselves. In other words, if you refuse to make the decisions that you need to make for yourself in order to empower yourself, then effectively what you call fate intervenes, and it seems like, oh, it made a decision for you. And so the outcome is less than favorable. But it's very important with the Five of Pentacles to understand, like, when you make important decisions about with whom are you going to spend your time. Like when people get married, when people like move in together and share homes and lives together, these are very profound things, and they can really affect you in the long term. And you can start off with all the best of intentions and then learn later on through, like, you know, karmic evolution, or how time evolves in a relationship, that what might have been originally what felt like a good decision was actually a poor decision, because you were just simply not aware. That's all. So it's very important to become aware. And my feeling is that you're being guided and protected into a level of awareness that you need to know. So please don't take this personally. The way to handle it is understand that by our own decisions, we can impoverish ourselves, but we can also empower ourselves. And that's what you're dealing with right now. So this is not the beginning and the end of the world here. This is the situation, is that you're figuring all this stuff out. And you now have this golden opportunity right now to figure it out in real time. Like, oh no, what did I do? How did I deserve this? How did I get here? And you realize, oh my gosh, it's exactly as it should be. This couldn't be any other way. And then all of a sudden, you're released. You have freedom. You realize, okay, well, it was inevitable that things might be like this anyway. So don't take it personally. Evolve and move on from there. All right? I hope I didn't hurt your feelings, Jill, and you make something out of it, and perhaps someone else gets something out of it too, if it didn't work for you, Jill. Okay? So let's keep going. Sorry if I hurt your feelings. Don't be scared of those cards, all right? Always, always look for the light. Always, because it's there. All right, Gerardo from Patagonia, which is inside Argentina. All right, so we're now broadcasting thousands of miles away to Patagonia. Gerardo, I guess that's the southern hemisphere, right? So you're coming into summertime. Wow, okay. All right, let me just shuffle a little bit more. Just a little bit more, okay? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Somebody put in, who's that? Wait a minute. Who put in that? I just saw that on the board. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Somebody is screaming very, very loud with Mary Cruz. Okay, Mary Cruz, thank you for that. Thank you for setting the standards. Wow. I appreciate that. Dear everybody out there, thank you. I just want to say that Mary Cruz has been very, very generous, and you know, you could say it looks like a donation. I'm not reading the screen. All I can see is the flashing yellow lights here. But Mary Cruz has essentially bought her way to the front of the line. Ha 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 ha. So there you go. Thank you, Mary Cruz. That's really, really, I love that. That's so cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I keep forgetting about the super chat button. So if anybody else wants to throw money in the tip jar, go for it. All right, so Mary Cruz, I'm going to put you after Gerardo because Gerardo and we're already started. But you are jumping the line because you paid big bucks to jump the line. Thank you. Sorry, everybody else, but you know, money talks. All right. Yeah, no. I don't know if everybody else can see that. All sun brings the light. Yes, all sun. You didn't have to tell anybody. I mean, it's kind of top secret. Okay. All sun is just one of those people. He was dropped off here by an alien ship, and it's not his fault. Okay. All sun and Terra Illumination have already met in real life, and it is true. He has this kind of like glow. There is this sort of glowing thing, like radiation, you know. But that's not his fault, you know. If you are from an alien galaxy, there are like certain characteristics, and he has them, and he's just happens to be here gracing us with his presence tonight, bringing his own particular form of light, which is a little bit luminous. It has that kind of like sparkly, luminous day glow kind of essence to it. But thanks for showing up because we need all the light we can get, people. All right, Gerardo, you're up. Gerardo, you are up. Web team, woo, whoa, web team, woo! Yeah, I just saw that. Another thing, another big yellow button. WTM. Yay. I don't know if we'll ever get to you for a reading, but I say thank you anyway. I'm just going to put this way over here. Gosh, the names are piling up, folks. Names, sorry. Okay, let's go. Let's just go for it. Come on, the clock is ticking. There's only so many hours that we can do here on Terra Illumination before the wheels fall off, okay? You know, it's kind of like one of those, you know, on Terra Illumination, it's a little bit like a demolition derby, you know, and you take the old jalopies and you just drive them around in a circle because it's so much fun, and you make up a lot of dirt and noise and mess, and everybody crashes into everybody else, and you laugh, and bits and pieces come flying off the car, and there's mud and smoke everywhere. It's fantastic. And in the end, there's only one car left, and it's going around, and it's got 3 wheels, and there's just mud splattered everywhere. That's what it's like here at Terra Illumination Sunday Night Live. So you better be prepared to get covered in mud. Okay, I hope you can handle it, people. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay, cards are shuffled. You saw that. You're a witness. Gerardo, what's going on? What's going on, man? What's going on in Patagonia? Oh, you know, Patagonia, isn't that like one of those big, huge nature places? People from all over the world go there to like escape reality, get in touch with nature and wilderness and all of that. What's the situation? What's the challenge? How are we going to handle it? And what's the weather like in Patagonia? Da, 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 da. Well, a lot of people see this as a celebration card, perhaps more of a formal celebration, not just like party time, but something where a very important thing is to be declared to the public. So Gerardo, some people even think of this as like the engagement card or the wedding party card, or at least like something to celebrate where it's official, you know, like you're going to put a ring on it, or there's going to be an announcement. It isn't just like a friendly gathering to whoop it up. It's much more of like a planned thing. So if, I don't know, Gerardo, if you're in a situation where you've got good intentions for someone, someone's got good intentions for you, and it looks like going to take it to the next step. Maybe it's a job, a career, a place, a location, a person, a loved one, you know, parent to child, nieces to nephews, friends to friends, lovers to lovers, whatever it might be. We will see. What's the situation? Okay, so it's, to me, it feels like a little bit going blind here, which is very normal for tarot illumination. If you think of this as a demolition derby, half the time those people are going around the ring with so much mud on their windshield and their goggles that they can't see anything. And so they're just continuously trying to wipe off the mud just to get around the next curve. So it can be a little scary at times when you're literally having to totally trust your intuition. I just totally trust that you're heading sort of in the right direction at the right time, in the right place for the right reasons, even though you can't actually see what you're doing. It's okay. So I sometimes feel like when I see this card, it's like that feeling that you get. I don't know if you've ever tried it, Gerardo, where you try to walk on a tightrope. You know, we can do that here in my neighborhood, where people get on these tight ropes and they're very low to the ground, so you're not going to hurt too much if you fall. But if you make it halfway and you think, wow, that's so cool, and you get 3/4 of the way, and you realize getting to the last couple of feet, that's the hardest part of all, because you're starting to go down that loop and come up the other side, and things can get a little wobbly. You know, when you see those guys, they're doing it, and they're kind of like crossing the wires, like, you know, this picture here, there's somebody on there on the high wire, and they're doing it, and they're wobbling around. And at the very, very last steps, right here, that's the most treacherous, dangerous part. When you start to freak out and freeze, your whole body freezes, your brain freezes, and you get night terrors and everything, and you're just struggling to hold your balance, let alone get across. Well, that's kind of what I feel here a little bit, but you're okay. It's just that you might be at that very wobbly phase right now, facing potentially a very beautiful, exciting situation, but it could also be a bit disorienting. And you're having to trust your intuition. Perhaps you're dealing with someone who is very, very, let's say, different, someone that not just not challenges you, but brings you to the very, very farthest limits of your abilities to cope, you know, subconsciously, so to speak. Where, you know, some people, a lot of people like everything to be nuts and bolts, locked down, like, so everything makes perfect common sense in this kind of cheerful situation. And yet, sometimes there's a lot of stuff that goes on beneath the surface that can be very hard to figure out and understand, especially when it comes, like if it's a like a marriage ceremony and you get right up to the aisle at the very last second and you're, you know, putting the rings on and everything. Some people faint, they black out, or they get into cold sweats, or they just run away. It's that kind of energy. You might be like kind of quaking in your boots. It's very beautiful, it's very exciting, it's very eerie, it's very wonderful, but it can also be a little bit unnerving. So let's have a look. What's the challenge here? Happiness, having it all in the old-fashioned way. So maybe, I don't want to turn this into a relationship reading, okay, Gerardo? I'm just trying to read broad energy. But if you're in a relationship situation where the happiness is at stake, where you're wondering if this is real or not, in other words, if you're all, here's like a little scenario. Let's say you're getting engaged, or you're getting married, or you just popped the question and you're wondering if this is ever going to work, if they're going to accept you. And of course, if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, what if this doesn't work? Oh no. Or, oh my gosh, what if this works? Oh no. Either way, the energy of your happiness is very much at stake here. In other words, Is your happiness going to be completely threatened by the whole idea of getting hitched up, you know, like married and engaged? Some people think of that as prison, like the worst thing that could ever happen. Some people think of it as the most liberating, wonderful experience on earth, where you get to have that intimacy and binding. And so when the Ten of Cups here is in the challenge position, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. I'm wondering, is this going to work out? Are we going to live happily ever after and have all the home and family and kids and all that? I'm just using the relationship marriage scenario as an example. Okay, so it could be something else in your life. I'm just using that as an example story. Also, so if it works out, oh my gosh, you might not have ever had this degree of happiness before. But if it doesn't work out, it could mean that you already have a lot of happiness that you might lose because of getting hitched up. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just like the whole energy of happiness is in question here. Your happiness, having it all or not. So how are we going to deal with it? Okay, take your time. If you're not ready to make really, really big, important decisions right now, and you're freaking out about whether to do this, thing or not, take your time. The energy, the suggestion here is very, very simple, especially if you're dealing with a relationship where it's very, very pure, but innocent, and still has a lot to learn. Because if you enter into marriages, there's a whole other world that happens after you're married compared to what happens before you're married. Because it does make a difference. It is a contract. But anyway, the suggestion here is to meditate on this. Think about it, sleep on it. Do not rush into anything. Do not make any hard decisions right now. Allow your intuition to speak to you. Allow yourself to go into dream state. Deliberately put yourself into meditative states if you have to. Go for walks, do yoga, meditation, whatever it is you do to get in touch with the great beyond. Do that, and then allow your intuition to speak to you, okay? And then see what happens. So take your time, all right, Gerardo? Gerardo, okay. Let's see. Thank you for visiting. All right, let's keep going, folks. Mary Cruz Perez. Okay, Mary Cruz, you're up. Let's have a look. Thanks, Gerardo. I hope you got some sense out of this. I really do. Oh gosh, there's names I'm missing. I can see it. Larasha is here. Hold on. Hold on. I just saw Larasha. I saw you there. I didn't put you on earlier. Hi, Larasha. And there was someone else I just saw. I just saw another one that didn't record earlier. Stay there. Hold on. Incognito. Tango Tango. Incognito and Tango Tango. All right, so I'm trying to catch up and keep up with you guys. Oh, Primary. Hi, Primary. What's going on? Good evening. Primary, by the way, feel free to tell everybody. Primary is a very, very gifted artist, especially when it comes to magical beings. Very, very highly detailed, highly advanced, extremely beautiful artwork. So Primary, don't be shy. Tell everybody in case somebody interested in getting hold of you and getting hold of some of your work, your pieces, okay? So there we go. Let's have a look. Hold on, I gotta put the names over here. Okay, Mary Cruz, you're up. Okay, let's have a look. Keep going. Let's keep going. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. It's hard enough to read tarot as it is without all that stuff. Jeepers, you know, we just use a few cards here, but you know, inside of Tarot Illumination, if you could see inside my body, it's like I have to live through a feature film for each reading. I can't help it. And then I have to kind of grab the fragments of stuff that makes sense and translate them very, very quickly into what we call the English language, and then hope that it makes sense to some of you. That's all. All right, let's have a look. All right, Mary Cruz, you're up. Let's just check the rest of the list here. See who else is here. Mary Cruz, we're going to do you in a moment. You got your reading right now. After Mary Cruz, we've got Lane McGee. Okay. After Lane McGee, we've got Pink Royalty. And after Pink Royalty, we've got WTM. So there you go. Mary Cruz. Here we go. Let's have a look. All right. Cards are shuffled. Sorry, I got distracted for a moment. Stay there, Mary Cruz. I'm going to do a very extreme cut just to break up the card's energy. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. Okay, Mary Cruz, don't freak out. This is just the weather. It's just circumstantial energy. And you're going to make the best of it, of course, like you would do any day with the weather outside. Okay, with the Seven of Wands, Mary Cruz, it's okay. It's good. It's a very indication that you're holding your ground and everything is going to be okay. It doesn't matter how bad it is out there right now. You will prevail. Okay? You've got the upper hand in the situation, so don't worry. Even if the situations are very challenging for you, let's just look at it this way. It's taking you perhaps to your limits a little bit, but you're more than capable of handling. What's the situation? Okay, with the Ace of Swords here, Mary Cruz, please understand from my perspective as your reader, the aces are all about sacred opportunity. This energy is typically very big, sometimes very hard to understand, and it just kind of goes into your life and your world, like that. Almost like the wind, okay? It's there and then it's gone. So it's very, very, very important. If you sense the energy of opportunity in your life right now, it's really important to grab that. And since this is the situation, let's just say you get it, you understand that. You might be struggling to like just sort of get through day by day for now, but this is there for you. So if you have not sensed this yet, it's either it's just around the corner, it's just coming, or it's there right now, but you still have to look around to find it and grab it and see the opportunity in the moment. It is there, and it's very much to do with coming into higher consciousness, higher understanding, higher truth, greater awareness of, let's say, universal laws, universal truth, the universal laws of attraction, laws of karma, the core truth of life, not just your opinion or their truth or your truth. It's universal law truth. So you have an opportunity to rise up to that, grab it and own the truth and live the truth. Live the truth by example. It's a golden opportunity to do that. Even though it might be a challenge, you might have set yourself with some very challenging conditions right now, and you are determined to achieve and succeed no matter what, okay? And so all I'm suggesting here is that everything's fine as it should be. Just please treat it as an opportunity, because it doesn't always happen. It's there for you. It would not happen. This would not be arriving in your life right now unless you deserved it, okay? So what's the challenge? Okay, well, it might be that it's very destabilizing for you. Some sort of fundamental laws and truths that are coming into your consciousness right now might actually be what that new hip trendy word for the last couple of years, disruptive, okay? To the point where it's all very well, you know, on Terra Illumination talking about, oh yeah, laws of attraction, oh yeah, laws of karma, blah blah blah, higher consciousness, blah blah blah, you know, all that stuff. It's wonderful, but sometimes it's actually just very disorienting if you're used to a certain way of life already that you already thought was the truth. Okay, because then all of a sudden it feels like your foundations are shaky and rattling, and you kind of just you're struggling just to hold on to what you've got, okay? Let alone figuring out what's going on up ahead and what are the chances for the future. And so, as much as you might want to evolve and grow, um, and you might see an opportunity here, it might be that you're um, just doing everything you can just to try and figure out and hold things together as you go along. And the challenge is just trying to maintain stability, maintain a solid foundation, keep your power, own your power, maintain your boundaries, maintain your structures in life um, as the truth unfolds. So how are we going to do that? Let's have a look. Okay, well, please, my feeling here right now, Mary Cruz, is that you might, without even knowing it, it might be very innocent. You might have been very like deeply wedded, bound and attached to certain, let's say, attitudes, conditioning, beliefs, teachings, learnings, understandings that you believed were absolute truth. And now you're discovering that it's not quite so. There is subjective truth, and then there is absolute truth. There is personal truth, their truth, your truth, and then there's absolute truth. And if you've been holding on very tightly to subjective truth and discovering that it's not very much in alignment with universal truth, then that can be very unsettling, okay? However, once you understand that it is an attachment, then that attachment doesn't have to own you. You can realize, oh my gosh, it's just a decision. It's just a perception. It's just an attitude. In other words, you have. It's almost like living as if you fully understand. You come into awareness, like, oh my gosh, why didn't anybody tell me earlier? And then all you have to do is kind of go click, unlock your attitudes, change your attitudes, and release yourself to the bondage of conditioning. That's all. That's all it is. And then you get liberation. And all you have to do is be aware of the conditioning and the bondage to conditioning. Okay, Mary Cruz, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or feel like I put you down or anything, or, you know, like I'm acting, whatever. Please don't take it personally. I hope you get something out of the reading, and that hopefully it makes sense to somebody else too. Okay, thank you so much. All right, Lane McGee, you're up. Lane McGee, let's have a look. Hey people, it looks like my I don't know about you guys, but the chat thing is completely frozen over here. I don't know how to unfreeze it. So hold on, I'm going to see if I can press a few buttons. Oh yeah. Hey Christmas629. Thank you, I got it. Yeah. Thanks for sending the love. I'm getting the love. I'm feeling it. I love you guys. I love having you here doing this. I love doing this for you. Okay. So I don't know if anybody you guys noticed, but the clocks changed today. So I can't tell whether it's really late for you guys in your body, but earlier on the clock or whichever. But we just did the 7 p.m. start time like we do. And I'm sorry if you're very, very, very sleepy right now. And if you have to go home and go to bed, then we'll do this another time. And in a few weeks, we'll all be adjusted to the Northern Hemisphere winter hours in the United States, and however that affects you guys in the rest of the world. Because I know some of you come from all parts of the world. Thank you very much. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look, people. Let's have a look. Oh, you know what? There was a guest here the other night, and she wrote in about how there's this way. I think she was on her tablet or her smartphone. I'm really proud of this, by the way. I'm just telling you. She rigs it up so that Terra Illumination Sunday Night Live gets played through her like her big screen TV. So she watches it like a feature film. Now that makes my ego explode, as you can imagine. Love you first, love yourself. That's me. That's me falling in love with myself. Thank you very much. I'm just trying to picture it now. Terra Illumination Sunday Night Live on the big screen. Yay. All right. Okay, enough self-indulgence. All right. Lane McGee, you're up. You're next. I have a feeling this is the first time for you, so you're basically getting hazed. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. You'll be all right. You'll be fine. A lot of people have got hazed on this show. It's not a big deal. I'm just trying to make it sound like a big deal. For entertainment purposes only. Thank you. By the way, I should probably state that, like a legal thing or something. Terra Illumination is not a fortune teller. Terra Illumination is not a PhD doctor of this or doctor of that. Okay? I'm very much into the healing arts, and it's kind of the Terra Illumination modality if you want. But if there's seriously important stuff that's going on in your three-dimensional world and you need proper, care in that department, then go for it. If it's something else and you want to talk to Terra Illumination, go for that too. That's fine. All right, Lane McGee, you're up. It's your turn. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. What's the weather like? Star again. Okay, let's just do the repeat. Let's just do it quickly. Save time, people. Guided and protected, all right? Feeling it strong again for you, Lane McGee. You might not understand it. There might be no explanation, no logical comprehension, just a deep, deep awareness that everything is exactly as it should be, and that's just fine. And there are forces out there in the great beyond that are just there for you in this very beautiful, loving, gentle way that might not make any sense, but it's true, it's there, and it's real. You are guided, you are protected. So we'll probably have to play that little song in a while, because this is obviously a dominant theme. A lot of people coming into the Terra Illumination private readings come in very disoriented about certain aspects of life, and we try to smooth things out for you guys. And a lot of it is understanding about how the healing power of love is a real life. It's like a force field, okay? It's really there, people. That's what we do on this show. It's all about the healing power of love and bringing the healing power of love into your life, and then so that allows you to radiate the healing power of love outward into the world, okay? What's the situation? Okay, well, I guess you're figuring it out. It's just like Lane. Maybe you're coming to a point like stock checking. When you run a business or something, or you're a manager, or you run a family, or you're just trying to sort out your own personal life in terms of like, what's actually going on here? How did I get to this situation? With the Seven of Pentacles, life is already in motion. Everything that was planted, all the seeds that were planted in your life, seeds of love, seeds of doubt, seeds of misery, seeds of joy, seeds of wealth and abundance, seeds of confusion, they are all blossoming, okay, whatever it is. And the question is, what do I do now? On the understanding that there is wealth and abundance here, and all of it is exactly how it should be. It couldn't be any other way. It's just how the laws of physics work. So if you're realizing, oh my gosh, I'm really good at this, and I got that, and I got that, and I got that, and oh no, I messed up here, I messed up there, oh no, understanding it's a work in progress, and you are your own gardener. Okay, it's up to you to do your own weeding, your own pruning, your own tucking, your own watering, your own fertilizing, and that's what you're doing here. And sometimes that can be a little bit, sometimes depressing. I mean, it's almost like saying, like, clean up your doo-doo. It's up to you. We all have to learn how to wipe our derrieres and all of that kind of stuff because nobody really wants to do it for you. So with this card here, it's a sensation of like evaluation of like, well, okay, I guess this is how it is. You've got all this wonderful good stuff, and you are responsible for that. But you're also responsible for the weeding and the fertilizing and the clearing and the watering, so that the good stuff grows and you clear out the weeds. Okay, so you're doing that. That's like in process. It might not be much fun, but it allows you to at least groom the land, groom the soil, and do the work that has to be done like your farmer to prepare for the next stage of growth. What's the challenge? Okay, another repeat card. We're starting to get the synchronicity energies tonight, folks. It's normal. It happens. Doesn't matter how much we shuffle, how much we cut, how much we try to talk our ways around it. Sometimes we get a lot of repeat cards, which means there's a repeat theme for everybody tonight. So if you feel, Lane, as though altogether you're literally struggling to try and figure out who are you, what are you doing, why are you doing this, and the challenge is wondering whether you will prevail or not. It's really important with, the card is here. It's a 7 of Wands, and it's the energy of prevail. But in the challenge position, there's the doubt. In other words, all these potential challenges that could really feel as though they're coming at you from every which way, every angle, everything, let's say every seed that you planted in your life that came up unexpectedly in a way that's, let's say, detrimental to your welfare, your stability, your well-being, and your wealth long-term. It's sprouting just as though you were sprouting bars of gold at the same time. And so the challenge is the weeding process, the process of self-healing, the process of self-cleaning, cleaning up our doo-doo. That is a challenge because we might have an awful lot of things to clean up that we didn't ever realize we ever had to clean up. That's a problem. But it's okay. You will prevail, but you might have doubts because it might feel overwhelming. It's okay. That's normal. We all feel that to some extent. How are you going to deal with it? Okay. Another repeat card in the same position. My feeling here with you, Lane, is to, let's just say, admit your innocence. It's okay, because it doesn't matter how spiritually evolved you are, where you came from, where you're going, there's always more to do, more to go, higher to rise, and so on. At which point, it's very important to be humble enough to realize that you don't know everything. There's no way you could have known possibly all these challenges, all these outcomes, because you were probably always trying to do the best anyway. It's just that in your innocence, you were not aware. So it's very important with the Page of Swords here to live as if you're, let's say, humbled enough and graceful enough to accept your innocence. And in your innocence, be willing to be very truthful and honest with yourself and say, okay, well, I guess I am responsible for this and that outcome. I am responsible for all these good things that are happening in my life. I am responsible for all these good seeds that I planted that didn't work out. And it's all on me. I own it all. Doesn't matter who or else or what's involved in the drama or the decision makings. It's still your life. It's so important to understand the energy of decisions. I was very, very, very fortunate the other night to have a meeting with a psychic medium who, it was very much fun for me because she gave me some information and feedback too. But what I learned is that she is very, very advanced in the sciences and the masters and the PhDs of something called the science of decisions. It's such a big deal, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, decision making in terms of government, traffic, finance, and everything. The energy of decisions. And that energy of decisions is actually my moment, my chance to show off the book. Thank you, Lane. Give me a second here. Interlumination is still in the process of this little book, Love and Healing, a little book about the healing power of love. You can't see it here on this doodle. This is the doodle for the front cover. But one of the fundamental core themes about the healing power of love is the energy of decision making. Love is as love does. The decision to do this or that or not affects the outcomes. So love in action is the willful, deliberate decision to extend yourself above and beyond your comfort zones in order to advance your own spiritual well-being and health and happiness and that of others. Doesn't matter whether it's a parent for a child, a student for with a teacher, teacher with a student, self with self, lover with lover, spouse with spouse, whatever it is. And that's the truth. It all comes down to decisions. And then realizing, oh my gosh, it's so simple. And being willing to be the whistleblower on yourself, Lane, where if you have to be willing to accept that you are responsible all the way for all the decisions that led you to who you are, where you are, why you are, and how things are right now for you in your life, in your world. And that's okay, because you're innocent. Just like Interlumination, just like everyone else here to some extent, we're all innocent. So you didn't have to know all the answers. You were guided and protected the whole way. And just right now, here tonight, right now, this is your moment to realize that it's okay. It's okay to be that way. And it's like a simple truth. And just be willing to call the truth out on yourself and say, oh my gosh, oops, okay, well, I guess the truth is I did make that decision that led to this. I guess the truth is that I am struggling to handle the shadow aspects, but that's okay. I get it. I understand. No judgment. I am innocent and I am pure, and I move on accordingly, understanding that it's all about decisions. Decisions. What is the most loving way to be in the moment? That's the ultimate decision. Maybe I'll say that again. What is the most loving way to be in the moment? That is the decision. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Do the loving thing, receive the loving thing. You are loving, you are loved. Okay? Okay, Pink Royalty, you're up next. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm getting confused. Sorry, people. Hold on. I forgot who bought their way into the line. I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're going to keep moving, people. Actually, you know what? I need a bit of a break. I got to tell you. My voice is pretty sore. I've been doing tons of readings, private readings and things like that, and all that stuff. And to be honest, my voice is just really kind of burnt out. So I'm struggling to get my tongue and my lips and my teeth and my palate and my jaws working. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's how it is here. And I get tight-chested and a little bit out of breath. I can't help it because I get all fired up because I love doing this. So my body is telling me I need a little break. So Pink Royalty, please hang in. You're next, but I need a little break. So I'm going to put on a little song and dance, all right? Okay, so hang in. Everybody talk amongst yourselves. We're going to put on a little song and dance for everybody. Okay. This is called The Bounce. Way out in Tokyo, you've been in all
Moscow, in some parts of Trinidad. I remember the good times I had all along the Great Wall of China, on the decks of ocean liners, with the Incas up in the Andes, way out in Los Angeles. Let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce. I smoked powwow with Gerardo. I've been downtown with nowhere to go. I made peace between the West and East, and I've met beauty and met beasts. I swam around the great equator. I started out as sooner later. I've been out to both of the poles, and I know where you don't go to roll. Let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce. Let's bounce. Let's bounce.
I'm still taking a break. Talk amongst yourselves. Don't forget to share your hot dogs, share the marshmallows, share the peanuts, share the potato chips, share the popcorn.
Tokyo, deep in old Moscow, in some parts of Trinidad. I remember the good times I had all along the Great Wall of China, on the decks of ocean liners, with the Incas up in the Andes, way out in Los Angeles. Let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce. I smoked powwow with Gerardo. I've been downtown with nowhere to go. I made peace between the West and East, and I've met beauty and met beasts. I swam around the great equator. I started out as sooner later. I've been out to both of the poles, and I know where you don't go to roll. Let's bounce. Let's bounce. Let's bounce. Let's bounce. Let's bounce.
Okay, stay there, folks. I'm just going to put on another little tune. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you about this wacko crazy dream the other night, just a couple minutes. In this dream last night, I was on a vacation, going on a walk on some kind of, beautiful like vacation boardwalk place with all sorts of beautiful people and restaurants and, amusements and everything. And this is going to sound like another ego trip. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just wigging out tonight. And I heard this song, and it was this song. It was like there was this big guy on a stage with all his equipment and his band, and he was playing this song. And he went through this. He was doing it like Little Richard, that rock and roll singer, and he was pounding it out on the piano, and people were jumping and jiving around the floor, and he started like telling people to get up and sing along with him. So it was real. To me, it felt like it was a real live thing, full on color, like a movie. And it was fantastic. And I just watched it all, and I was so happy in the movie, in the dream, to look at all those people jumping and laughing and dancing along with the song. It felt awesome. I felt so happy. I'm going to play another song because I need to make some more lists. Hold on. Stay there. I'm going to put on I Am Healing because I am healing tonight and I need a lot of healing tonight. Okay. So I'm just going to put that on. Okay. So here we go. So dance amongst yourselves. This is just kind of a dance groove thing. One day we're going to have this all done properly, like real songs, real music, real recordings. Write to me, Lena. Write to me. Go to tarotlumination.com and write to me. Sorry, there's no logic to any of this. I'm sorry, people. Cheers, everybody. The cranberry juice. Uh-oh, what's that? Hold on. I don't know what that is. Hey, there's something that came up on the screen, 650 squiggles. I don't know what that is. but it looks like somebody put somebody in the pot. I don't know who that is or what that is, but I thank you. It looks like a donation of some kind. Oh, it's Sweet Basil. Hold on. Wait a minute. I see that. Gratitude. Is that you? Who is that? Sweet Basil. I have no idea what that means. It looks like I don't know how it works, but it looks like Sweet Basil. You put something on the screen. Is that right? Like 650 squiggles, whatever squiggles are. I don't know. Anyway, thank you. I'm sure it'll all work out beautifully. So, anyway, yeah. I mean, this music, I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous song because there's only 2 lines in the whole song. You know, I, um, I know it sounds like sometimes I talk all big and I get all excited about things, but I really, really want to do this for the long term for everybody, people, okay? So we're trying to set up a recording studio here at Lumination and working very closely with the premium recording studio service people in the world. Thank you very much. And I'm very lucky to have that support. And so we're going to do it and find a way to make it happen. Hopefully we'll get it to work so we can get some really good sounds out there for you in very simple ways, very pure, that you can enjoy and to listen to. And sometimes the songs, that's all we need, just a few lines, okay? So anyway, let's just get back to the show. Let's just get back to the basics here, okay? We can chit chat later on. We're going to have fun later, but right now we need to do some readings. Pink Royalty, you're up. Cards were already well shuffled, as you witnessed earlier. So we're just going to go for it, all right? Are you ready, Pink? I hope so. I hope so. Thank you for whoever put those 650 squiggles up there. Thank you very, very much. Yeah. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it, okay? Terror style. So what's the weather like? Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared, Pink Royalty. Sometimes it's really, really important. If you're sensing this energy around you, if it's in other people or if it's you, the beauty of having this is that it's no longer hidden. The worst thing is when this is hidden, okay? So remember, okay, the energy of the heart, it looks like this huge red bleeding heart here, okay, obviously. But remember, it is swords. So with the swords energy, we're thinking of it from a point of view that it is in the mind, that if there's the energy surrounding you or circumstantial energy of betrayal, deception, lies, deceit, especially in matters of the heart, it's on the understanding that these can be of our own doing, either wittingly or unwittingly, either to ourselves and others or from others to us. It almost doesn't matter either way because we feel it in our heart and it very much hurts, even though it all comes about through our decisions, okay? Most energies that come from betrayal, especially betrayal of the heart, is a decision, okay? Somebody, somewhere, either consciously or unconsciously made a decision. If you made the decision unconsciously, that means you're dealing from reflex behavior, your limbic soul, your limbic being, over which there is no control, and you could just call it fate. If the decisions are made deliberately and consciously, where people are deliberately and consciously betraying each other in matters of the heart, it still comes to the same outcome, okay? So the important thing is that if you're sensing this energy around you, it's good to know. It's really, really good to know, because you do not want this thing hidden and pretending as though life is just wooey woo, oh, wonderful, lovey-dovey-dovey. No. If this is going on, you need to know. So treat this card as a blessing, okay, Pink Royalty? All right, what's the situation? Okay. Oh. I'm just going to tell you what I felt. I felt an ego war. I felt an ego war either with yourself or with another in such a way where circumstantial situations, like perhaps something like this, puts you in a bind, puts you in a bit of a bind, perhaps even a double bind. And the energy of a double bind is extremely hard to handle. It's that energy of you're messed up if you go this way, thinking you're making, or you're messed up with the, in other words, whichever choice you make, there is going to be a very challenging outcome. So that's what I'm feeling here, Pink Royalty. It's the whole idea of like uh, wrestling with, say, a reality that might not be very comfortable, whatever way you look, whether you're the one who is on the receiving end of some kind of treachery or betrayal, or someone else is on the receiving end of your unwitting betrayal or deception. It doesn't really matter. It puts everybody in a double bind, especially if it's a triangulated situation. If 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 you're in a triangulated situation where there's yourself and another, and then there's another party in between, it's very, very hard energy to handle. It's extremely hard for all of us, for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if it can or can't exist. They do exist. Triangles are very, very common, but they're just typically very hard to handle, even in the most well-managed situations. So it can put us up against ourselves to the point where our, let's say, our egoic self is brought out in its full glory and its full monstrosity. In other words, my gosh, you come to the realization you're a human being just like everybody else, and you can, like, if some people who have been betrayed can unwittingly betray another person as a form of trying to get even with the world. I know it's not fair, but it happens. It's very frequent. And so what happens is, like, if this is, let's say, Pink, this is your egoic energy here, and now you're wrestling with yourself, because this can be some of the most painful energy in the world to happen for people. And it takes you to like the most primitive version of yourself, where you're literally like the raw animal. And yet at the same time, you are aware that you're also a spiritual being in a physical body, and you have to rise to your highest spiritual capacities. So that would be over here. So my feeling is that, Pink, in your situation, you might be in a situation where you are being really, really stretched, really, really pressed between like a rock and a hard place about what to do and how to do it, which is putting a lot of pressure on the egoic self and how to rise above the egoic self, the desires, the needs, the raw animal needs, and answer to a higher purpose, a higher understanding, higher spiritual understanding, in that if you look at it this way, that this is circumstantial and it is evident, then it's important that it's evident. And then when that happens, it means there's a reason and there's a purpose. And so it could be, if you treat this as a divine opportunity for a way to come into higher spiritual understanding about the energy of betrayal and deception, or triangulation, and how that works in life, how it can happen, why it can happen, and how it happens according to our decisions, then that can, let's say, that can put you in that can give you a greater chance to rise into your highest spiritual capacities, so that you don't have to wallow around in suffering and pain and grief and misery on the egoic level. So that's how I'm feeling this for you, Pink, okay? I don't know if it's in a job situation or a personal situation, a love situation, or self with self. Maybe you've betrayed yourself. We don't know. It's not a private reading. This is just a public forum, and we're keeping the language clean. So what's the challenge here? Because my feeling is that this in self is a challenge. The challenge between ego and spirit. How do we raise the egoic self to its highest spiritual expression, where it's kind of not even about you anymore? What's the challenge? Okay, the challenge might be facing the truth, facing that there are an awful lot let's say, multiple injuries. Okay, it could be that this energy of whatever it is, heartbreak, betrayal, triangulation, deception, betrayal of innocence, is to be expected. In other words, uh, it's no wonder. It's in other words, it's almost like it's not a surprise that this is happening, but it puts you in a very difficult situation because you now have to face the situation, and then in facing the situation, you come to the most challenging part, which is to understand how you are complicit in your own demise, how you become the author of your own undoing. And that can be very difficult to accept, and we don't want to accept it. But we can easily see how we can tie ourselves in knots, tangle ourselves in knots, even thinking that we're doing the right thing, being righteous, being self-righteous, either through unconscious conditioning or what we were taught or learned, but it turns into attitudes and ways of being that become automated, where it's almost like you don't have any control over them. And then suddenly coming to the rude awakening that, oh my gosh, you do. You do have control and ownership, because that's you, that's your life. And you might have been just functioning from your egoic self, like this, so to speak, and now realizing, oh my gosh, oh, this really is a problem. And yeah, I could blame it on someone else, but still, it's you, it's your life, it's your problem. If you're feeling this, if you feel as though you are on the receiving end of betrayal, you also have to understand that you're part of the equation. And that can be very hard to accept and understand, because you might be the one who's in deep pain. And like it's someone else's fault, and they deserve to be held responsible. And yet there you are, it feels to me like you're being forced to realize, like, oh my gosh, like I'm part of the equation. Oh no. That's very, very hard energy to handle. I'm not trying to judge or belittle or be specific about this, but I'm just trying to help in terms of bringing light and understanding to the situation, so that you don't take it personally and you see this as a real opportunity for growth. Okay, how are we going to deal with this? Okay, if it means like as a reality check, let's say this is personal. If it means realizing that it is over, it's done, it's broken, it's betrayal, it's beyond salvation, there's no, it's done. No matter how much love there was, it's okay. It's okay to understand that, because with the Eight of Cups here, if you look at it from the highest spiritual perspective, then you can say, okay, well, that's just how it was meant to be. And it's all a consequence of decisions anyway. The decisions and behaviors of another, the decisions and behaviors of the self, and how they all accumulate and turn into one particular outcome, which might be this. And then the question is like, oh, well, then all of a sudden becomes very pure and simple. Then that's just how it is. And then the way to handle it is to accept that there might have been a lot of love. There might have been everything between yourself and another, or between yourself and self. But now it's time to realize, through this perhaps a very, very painful awakening, perhaps a very painful spiritual awakening and lesson, that this almost needed to happen so that you could have the chance to sort of like, let's say, evolve and move on from here and rise into your true strength and power, which is over here, where your egoic self becomes the humble servant of the spirit. Okay, so that you are no longer owned by the energies of betrayal and treachery and deception, and you're not swallowed up and being chewed up in like a meat grinder of pain and suffering and blame and guilt and all of that on yourself or others, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you look at this situation as a life lesson and the chance to move on a higher level of spiritual understanding and a journey, even if it means being on your own for a while, that's okay. You are still under the light. You're still under guidance, but you're going to have to trust your intuition that this is okay and it's meant to be that way. Please treat it as a divine lesson, as a divine opportunity. no matter how painful. Okay, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or scare you. I hope it made sense to you in some way, Pink, and that you get something out of it. Please, please make something good out of it, okay? Reinterpret however you want. I'll just show that to you for circumstantial energy. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. WTM, you're up next. I can't remember what it says. Web something. Web something something. Sounds like, I think it was the name of a corporation. WTM Incorporated or something? I don't know. Sorry. All right. Everybody gets scared of that little Three of Swords. It's understandable. Please see the light. It's good. All right, WTM, you are up. Situation cut. Ooh, a one-card cut. We're going to do a one-card cut. There we go. Woo! So that's your weather card already there, the one-card cut. So, situation, challenge, how are we going to handle it? And what's the weather like? Okay, dear viewers, you got to laugh. I mean, what can you do? What can you do? Okay, I feel a bit strange, like I'm talking to a company. What about we just say I'm talking to a person, WTM, and those are your initials, okay? Because these are just for people. Tarot Illumination is a person just like you guys, and we're just doing a private, like a little public fun reading for another person, okay? So if your circumstantial energy is like full of that feeling like loved and lost, you know, like it's been a great journey, and you've had what I call a complete lifestyle package deal, like perhaps a chunk of life where there's been a lot of love shared, given, love received, loved given, and it adds up and it's evident and it's real. But there's also a realization that, as with all things in life, there is a beginning and a middle and an end. Some things don't end. The healing power of love never ends. Love never ends. Love is universal, and we're all made of it. It's the primary, raw ingredient of life, and our essence and our being. But in our physical form, we have a shelf life. Human beings have a shelf life, and we go through cycles and periods which can be very fruitful and delicious and loving, and ultimately beautiful in its own way. And yet, when you realize that, oh my gosh, I am an individual, and that you might have been immersed in everything where, you know, you get that delicious feeling of being part of something, where it's like this sort of being part of like a pool or a group or a family, especially like a family situation, where you can kind of you lose yourself in the family, and the family can lose themselves in you, and it's all, you're all there for each other, so on. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, I'm an individual. Uh-oh. And there are things like inherited relationships, and there are chosen relationships. And sometimes when we realize that certain relationships in life are circumstantial, like your birth family, brothers, sisters, siblings, co-workers, or whatever, and things like that, and then you realize, wait a minute, there are situations where you have full rights and choices. And then what do you do with that? Are you going to keep with that or not? Sometimes we make the decision to give ourselves the right to be ourselves, even if it means leaving something behind that was deeply loved. So in some ways, there's a little bit of tragedy associated with this card, but it's not the end of the world. It's just about, this is very much about evolution. You know, we all change and move on. What's the situation? Okay. Oh, I'm glad we got this. I'm really, really glad for you, WTM. So the idea is that, like, if you've got this feeling like, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Yes, that would be the perfect way to be right now anyway, because it's very liberating. If you have made a deliberate decision to liberate yourself from something that was perhaps very satisfying and loving, and because you felt the calling without even having to explain it or justify it, that's okay. You have the right to do that. You're making a decision, and in so doing, let's say you release yourself into the great beyond, into the great unknown, where anything and everything can happen according to your decisions or not. That's an extremely beautiful place to be. It's also a very scary place to be. So let's just see, what's the challenge with that? Oh, another repeat card in the same position. Okay, people. Oh, gosh. It's almost like, it feels to me, I don't want to get into personal relationships because it feels like WTM is a company. I don't know what to say, but um, let's say, okay, I'm just going to call it how I feel it. Let's say perhaps the past is coming back to haunt you, but not in a bad way. All I'm suggesting is that you might be at a phase in life where you're realizing that there's a lot more going on than just like the three-dimensional realities of, you know, get up, do this, chores, breakfast, go here, do that, work, jobs, school, challenges, relationships, responsibilities, blah, 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 chill out, sleep. Repeat, repeat, repeat. There is so much more beyond that. And especially when it comes to matters of the heart, especially like some people deliberately wish for their soulmate to come into this life, into this world. Some people are actively seeking their twin flames and all of those like magical terminologies that they use for that special one. And we're here, of course, to Illumination, where everyone is special. But to me, this feels like there is someone special where you might be, the challenge is like, if there's someone who's come back into your life, into your world, who could be termed like a past life relationship or someone from the past, and whether they're here now and they're going and you've lost them, or whether they have just arrived and you wished for that, it can be a little disorienting because that's like it happens here a lot at Tarot Illumination, where people come in to get a reading, and there's some very, very challenging situations in their life, sometimes to do with relationships, um, because a lot of our happiness in life, apart from things like food, shelter, and water, are, the next thing would be company, companionship, spouses, mates, loved ones, partners, our dearest loved ones in life. And when they show up, sometimes that can be a real problem. You might have wished for that, but it can be a real problem because it can really upend everything. Now, it could be also a dream come true because it might be just what you wish for and you get it. But in either way, like if you're coming from here, where it's almost like walking away from something, going blind into the future, and the challenge is, what does the future hold, or what have I lost? It's almost like, what have I lost? What am I losing? What do I have to let go of? And what might be coming my way? Is this going to be another repeat situation? Is there a possibility of getting, you know, like some people go in like sequential relationships. They come out of one situation where they learned and grew and evolved and everything. And before they know it, they're into the next situation. And sometimes there's deep trepidation. In other words, oh, I don't want to have a repeat of the awful things that happened. And yet you can't evolve and grow in matters of heart and love unless you're willing to dive in and go into the relationship, which can be very scary, because if you've already been burned by relationships, or you've had to let go of something, then the chance of starting again can feel very intimidating. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Even if you're like a soulmate, even if you're a twin flame, I don't know, because I'm scared. Like, I can see how I love you. I can see how you love me. And that's wonderful. But this card is in the challenge position. So it's almost like it's almost like the fear of having, it's to me, I mean, this is going to sound very weird. It's almost like the fear of having your soulmate, the fear of having a loved one come in that's like really true, someone that's actually really good and true for you, in case it doesn't work out. Because it's, you know, some people, they get so like battered and beat up by love and things when it goes wrong, that they get scared of ever going into it again, and they completely shut down their heart so that nothing can happen. So this is just a blank space. And so with the Fool card here, it might, to me, it feels as though, you know, you're looking out into the unknown, into a landscape where something potentially beautiful could be also something potentially frightening or very challenging. You know, like, be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. So how are we going to handle that? Okay, well, my feeling is to just admit it. Admit there, like if you're really, like, say, confused or lost or anxious about especially matters of the heart, especially particularly love relationships, where there's the whole energy of letting go and moving on to higher spiritual levels of understanding about how things work in love and relationship, and then realizing that you might be very, very vulnerable to being hurt, and yet at the same time deeply wishing for that like divine soulmate partner that could work for you. That could be very, very scary. It could bring up the very worst of your fears, the very worst of all your, like, you know, like thoughts, perceptions, attitudes, beliefs, understandings that already pre-existed inside of you, which would be like the things that would cripple you and undermine you going forward. So it's very, very important. My feeling here, WTM, in your situation, is to treat this card as a really strong alert that, you know, you could be creating like the fear just by thinking of it. You know how energy flows where attention goes? It's a very simple fundamental law. Like, if you just, even for one moment, allow those thoughts of fears of what could go wrong to take a hold in the mind, they can escalate and amplify to the point where it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, eventually when things do go wrong, you can tell yourself, well, I told you they could go wrong. I told you everything would go wrong. And the reason that happens is because you keep telling yourself that everything's going to go wrong. And that's all energy that's based on fear. Fear compounding fear. Fear breeds fear. So it's very simple. Love breeds love. But so long as the important thing here with this card, WTM, is to understand that fear breeds fear. And so the way to liberate yourself from that is to realize that, oh, is it really that simple? And then instead start realizing that love breeds love. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Go back to making fruitful decisions where every time you get one of these like triggers that goes off in your brain, it kind of goes, oh no, oh no, oh no, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen again. Okay, I couldn't take this. I couldn't take that. Please see that as a warning sign to completely flip your attitudes and language and thoughts and speeches a complete 180 degrees. So treat this as like a GPS warning device, an advanced warning signal. Every time you get those tremors in your body, like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, that is a powerful signal to change your attitude instantly. 180, flip it to the good, flip to the love, What is the loving thing to do right now? What is the loving decision to make? What is the loving way to be right now? Okay? So this does not own you. All right. Thanks, WTM. I hope you get something out of it. Hope I didn't like scare you or anything, you know, or, you know, mess things up. Sorry. I'm just doing what I can to help, okay? Yes, it's me. Yes, it's you. You're next. Yes, it's you. You're next. All right. Gosh, I hope I can handle the rest of these readings. My throat is really starting to burn out, people. Hold on. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3. Well, I got 3 more lined up here, so we'll see how we go. Whew. Okay. Yes, it's me. That's you. Yes, it's you. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. And what's the weather like? Doo-doo-doo. So, yes, it's you. I'm just going to say yes. Okay, it's you. Okay, it's you. Okay, it's you. Circumstantial energy. It feels to me, it's almost like, how nice. Well, isn't that just nice? It's almost that feeling of like you're just tooling around. You know, maybe you're in your minivan or you're on the bus or you're walking somewhere and you go right past your an ice cream store and you think, you know what? I haven't had an ice cream in quite a while. Right now, I think I deserve it because I am this gorgeous. I am this awesome, and I have the ability to manifest at will. Okay? And so my desire right now is to just have that yummy thing and be that yummy thing. And you just give yourself full permission to open the door and walk straight to the counter and say, I want one of those with sprinkles. Thank you. And extra that. Thank you. And some of that too. Thank you very much. And then they get it and they deliver it to you and you eat it and you enjoy every single bite like you're in heaven. That's the energy I feel here. And then when you're done, you walk out the door like nothing happened. And you kind of go like, lovely. Thank you very much. Yes. That's kind of how I feel that. And that wouldn't happen unless you were that awesome already. And you have the ability to grant yourself that much joy and manifest that much joy in your life on a whim, just because you can. What's the situation? Another repeat card. I know we had this earlier. It was early on tonight. I know we had this. So, for it's you. With the 7 of Pentacles here, my feeling is that it's not such a big deal. It's like you're probably aware that, you know, in the present circumstances, that like if you're living up to your full awesomeness, where you realize like you're almost like the creator of your own destiny, and where all the good yummy stuff that happens in your world, in your life, like it happens according to decisions. It's not just fate. I mean, it's a big card. It's the Empress, so it could feel like it's fated. It might feel all the good things that are happening in your life are a consequence of fate. But what I'm sensing here is that you are discovering that you are in some ways the master of your own destiny, and that you are step by step manifesting in how things turn out in very incremental ways. Like, wow, this is so cool. It's like, I always had a feeling life was like this, but now I totally get it. I finally understand that I'm always planting seeds. I am always harvesting fruit, and I'm always nurturing, fertilizing, growing, and watering. all at the same time. It never stops. It's just like a garden and being a gardener. Sometimes you just have to, you know, plow everything under and start again. But at this point in life, it's all about seeing everything in flow, where you've already set things in motion and the good stuff is manifesting. All these wonderful pentacles here, and the fruits and the leaves and the vines, and that's good. Also, all the pruning and tucking that needs to happen, and all the grooming of the planting and the farm and your life in your world, and that's fine. That's good. Yeah, it's work, but it's worth it. So what's the challenge with this? I feel this is just very private, very personal. What's the challenge here? Okay, wow, whoa, doopy doopy doo. Okay, well, this is a very beautiful card in its own right. It's the Ace of Cups. It's the energy of divine opportunity. Okay, when the energy of divine opportunity arrives in your life, kind of like that, or like that, or wherever it comes from, like that, it's on the understanding that your, let's say, guardian angels or the heavens above, however you want to look at it, the great beyond, the divine masters and mistresses and everybody, they have determined that this is what you deserve. Okay? And in its full glory, this is like the ultimate in love. Okay? Is this, you could almost say, is the healing power of love. You could say this is the energy of heaven, like that raw material out of which life is made and all good things come into being. And it's in the challenge position. So my feeling is that even with like the potential that you have and the gifts and the talents and the abundance that you have already, there is a sense of doubt, a deep sense of doubt as to the worthiness. Like, okay, you might, you know, theoretically, academically, logically understand that you are worthy, you are deserving, and you're open to receive, and you're ready, willing, and able to receive, just like with the ice cream. But there might be also this sense of doubt that, you know, after you've, let's say, been really sweet to yourself or kind to yourself, or others have been good and kind to you, there might be that one moment of doubt that kicks in where you think, I didn't really deserve that. You know, like some people feel very, very guilty after doing something or having something very delicious that they truly deserved. And then they start punishing themselves for something that really deserves no punishment. And then, so the whole energy of self-love becomes in doubt. You're like, you've just undermined yourself without even knowing it. And in so doing, blown away the opportunity to be like a fully active instrument, a fully active, let's say, conductor or transmitter of the healing power of love. And that means the ability to receive it. So if this card is in the challenge position, to me, it's an indication that you might be really an expert at bringing into life, bringing into being in fertile ways, and then also being one of those people who can easily undermine themselves as well without even knowing it. And then you end up like, dang, I had it all and then I lost it. Or like, I can't remember what it's called. Like people who eat a bunch of wonderful, delicious food and then they barf it all up because they feel guilty. And it's like self-love. The whole energy of self-love becomes in doubt. You know, one minute you're being very loving and nurturing yourself, and the next minute you're denying it. And so that's a problem. And that's what I see is going on here, understanding the process of how we nurture and grow ourselves for the long term. So the challenge would be being ready, willing, and able to receive love over the long term, as opposed to just random sporadic moments and then feeling guilty afterwards about being so fortunate. Let's have a look. How do we deal with this? Okay, my feeling here with the Seven of Swords is to come to an awakening and a realization about how incredibly easy it is to undermine ourselves, betray ourselves, and deceive ourselves in extremely subtle ways that we don't even know that we're doing them. Don't even know it's happening. And then you wouldn't know till later on in life when things don't work out as planned. In other words, you thought you were planting seeds of love, and then you end up like stomping them. So, but again, that can happen because of conditioning. Like with the Seven of Swords here, it could be simply that you don't even know that you could be your own worst enemy. Everyone else might see you as the most wonderful, loving, charming person. Then you go home and lock yourself up and punish yourself, like, oh, I don't deserve that. I didn't deserve that. I don't need that. I wish somebody loved me, and I deserve to be all loved. But then you think, oh, how could possibly anybody love me? You know, it's like some people are like that. I don't know how or why, but we all have our little quirks. Also, I was advised by another viewer one time that this card can also symbolize getting what you deserve and having to be very shrewd about doing that. So let's add that into the reading for you. It's you about not only is it really, really important to understand how you could be very, very, very much an expert at your own self-undoing without even knowing it. It's also very important to realize it's about time you stopped doing that and getting what you deserve, which is this, because this is on offer. This is available to you, but it's not being accepted. Okay? So when the healing power of love is offered to you by your angels, by heaven, by divine ordinance, or whatever you want to call it, of course, the challenge is to accept. Sometimes that's so hard to do because we don't feel worthy. We don't feel deserving. We're not open. Our hearts are closed. We don't feel ready. We don't feel willing. We don't feel able because we're scared of the consequences. We might feel we're not worthy. Like, who am I to be so wonderful? So it's just an awareness, okay? The way to deal with it is to be very, very aware about how human beings in general can be experts at our own self-undoing, including, yes, it's you, okay? Thank you so much. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or sound like I was being judgmental or harsh or anything that felt really bad to you, okay? ND, you're up. ND, you're up. I'm glad to see you're all making friends out there. That's great. It's really, really wonderful. Love breeds love, people. Love breeds love. Planting seeds of love. Like Abby says, I don't know if Abby's here tonight. I don't see the screen much, but Abby was very, very supportive. She still is. And she was describing how things can grow like a banyan tree. Like one tree starts to grow and sprout, and it sends out a shoot and a tendril like a vine, and then that turns into another tree, and that tree turns into another root, which turns into another tree, and so on. And so everything kind of grows out like in little satellites. ND, you're up. I need to do a little bit of shuffling here because we had quite a lot of synchronistic cards. Mikey, what's up, Mikey? What's going on, Mikey? All right, ND. Let's have a look. What's going on? I'm going to do a very extreme cut. Okay, here we go. Situation, challenge. How are we going to deal with it? What's the weather like? Okay, Nine of Pentacles here. So ND, in your circumstances, my feeling it might be a wish like, man, I wish I could get my act together to the point where I really didn't have to rely on anybody or anything except myself. Wouldn't that be so cool? Okay? And it might be an indication that this is possible as well. Not just a wish, but a possibility. Perhaps you're witnessing others who can do that, others who are like that already, and that's inspiring for you. What's the situation? Okay, joy, 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 joy. In other words, wouldn't it be so cool just to be all of that? Wow. So, so, so cool. It's beautiful here to have the sun. I'm very happy for you, ND. Doesn't matter about how miserable you might feel right now. The situation, whether you know it or not, is actually really, really good. It's good for understanding that happiness comes from within. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is a decision. It's almost like it doesn't even matter what's going on out there in the world around you. The hurricanes, the politics, the finances, the government this, the healthcare that, kids, family, relatives, boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses. It doesn't matter. Whoever they are, whatever they're doing on a huge global scale or just in the home or on your block or at work or whatever, you still have the right and obligation and duty to be happy and be happy from the inside out without even having to explain how or why. It's very simple. It's very, very pure. And now, because this is the energy of a situation. So the situation might be to do with joy, might be to do with happiness, with uh, full abundance and full radiance of self, being your full, luminous, brightest self. And with this here, again, I felt like an energy of wish, wanting that, knowing that's possible, knowing that it's like so simple, it's so obvious, but again, simple is not easy. It's just like, oh my God. It's like happiness is a choice. It's like a bumper sticker, let's stick it on your car, like happiness is a choice, man. You know, it's your decision, man. And then, oh, it's almost like I have this little chant that I do to myself. I'm just going to tell you ND, okay? And I do this every day to brainwash myself. I'm not going to deny it. It's just simple brainwashing, self-brainwashing. I tell myself, I'm a very lucky man. I'm a very wealthy man. I'm a very happy man. In fact, I'm a very blessed man. And I keep saying it over and over to the point where it like, you know, there's no room for all the garbage, all the static, all this, the negative self-chatter in the brain. It's like you brainwash your consciousness into believing the good, knowing the good, invoking the good, having the good, living the good. Okay. So if this is your wish, if you're in a situation or circumstances where you're realizing it is possible to be the source of your own happiness, own it as like a resource, as an energy, as a way of being, that's very, very cool. You can actually ask for it. Kind of like the way I do here. Um, it's like it's the perfect time for you to decide to let love in, love and healing. Those are the lyrics from another song that's going to be out whenever. But it's always the perfect time for you to decide to let love in, and that would be love and what love does, which is mostly to do with healing. And then you repeat, repeat, repeat. You could say that to yourself. I ask for the healing power of love to fill my body from up above. I ask for the healing power of love to fill my mind from up above. I ask for the healing power of love to fill my heart from up above. I ask for the healing power of love to fill my soul from up above. And then what I've been helping a friend of mine, and we took it to the next step and we were writing it down. The next step is making it a little bit more personal, where it's like we ask for the healing power of love to fill our relationships from up above. We ask for the healing power of love to fill our loved ones from up above. We ask for the healing power of love to fill our homes from up above. We ask for the healing power of love to fill our lives from up above. And then we own it. And we create our own happiness from the inside by invocation, by decision. Okay? So it might be that's just what you're doing. Maybe you're learning how to do that. Maybe that's just why we're doing it with you on this show right now here tonight. And you just needed to hear Tarot Illumination say that. That's all. So what's the challenge with all that? Okay. Oh, stability. Okay. Maybe we're dealing with finances here in D&D. I'm not too sure. I don't want to get too specific. Let's just talk about energy. But we had this as another repeat card in the same position earlier. So it might be that your happiness, your sense, your core sense of happiness in what would turn you on and make you think like, oh, my ideal life would be this, this, and this, and this, that, and that, and that. And that's what would allow me to be like happy and independent and free. But it's almost like outsourcing your happiness to external circumstances. And that puts you in a very dangerous position because instead of owning your happiness on the inside, which of course is your choice and right and duty and obligation, if you're outsourcing your happiness, thinking it's all out there, like if I had more money, better partners, richer partners, nicer house, better cars, like an American Express gold card, whatever it is, and somebody else paid for it, that would be great, awesome. And so the challenge here is like, let's just say stability, okay? If you feel as though that your happiness and stability is at stake, is in question, you know, that's a lot because there's a lot of potential happiness and joy here. But if the challenge is that there's some kind of threat that you feel is a threat around you, where your sense of independence, your energy of independence is actually unstable, and it's because of something or someone else that's outside of you, that's a problem. It's like you've outsourced your happiness to somewhere or something else or someone else. Okay. And so that can be destabilizing to your foundations. That would be the challenge. In other words, in a building, typically on a building, it has four corners. And there's, you know, you have four pillars, four legs on a table, or you have four corners of the foundations of a building. If one of those is gone or it's wobbly, then it puts everything else in jeopardy. Or if you're in a situation where your foundations are a little shaky, and that's the challenge, or you feel as though it's going to be a challenge, then that's a problem for sure. How are we going to deal with it? Okay. To me, it feels like it's almost like Japers and DNT. You know exactly what we're talking about here, and you're kind of letting things get to you in a way that doesn't have to be. It might just be fear, like the fear of losing stability, the fear of losing wealth, fear of not having enough, all those things. Yeah, it can be very unsettling. But with the King of Wands here, my feeling is that I don't want to outsource this to anybody. I'm not saying and I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but it feels to me it's all about like, it's almost like, come on, Andy. If you've got this, even just a tiny percentage inside of you and you own that already, you're like ahead of 90% of the people on the planet already. And it's just a question of acknowledging and realizing how incredibly fortunate we are. This is almost like a card of great fortune going back. You're very lucky, you're very wealthy, you're very happy, you're very blessed. It's a question of owning it and stating it and claiming it and living it by decision. And so the way to do that is to, like, let's say, rise up, like a living as if kind of card. This would be you go into the, a department store or someplace where there's a really big full-length body mirror, and stand in front of yourself, no matter what you look like, and tell yourself and remind yourself how awesome you are, and that you have full rights to be who you are, and that you have now made the decision to reclaim full sovereignty of self and live your life according to the passionate way that you would like to do so. Honor yourself, be your true self, live in that dignity, be the inspired leader, corporate boss, CEO of your life and your world, and do not apologize. You know, because this might be just a card of fear. Okay, do not apologize for your own awesomeness. Do not apologize for wanting to be even more awesome than you are already. No shame in that. This is very much, even though it's a masculine card, it could be, forget the gender. It's just about like living as if, even if you don't really feel it, even if you're doubting yourself, doubting your integrity, doubting your independence, doubting your finances, doubting your foundations, this is brainwashing yourself. It's about brainwashing yourself, telling yourself, I am worthy, I am deserving, I'm open, I am ready, I'm willing, and I am able. I am lucky, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, and I'm blessed. Thank you very much, because I said so. Because I am the king of me. I own me, and I make my own decisions. I'm not going to outsource my own happiness to anybody. Thank you very much. I am the boss, and I said so. Thanks, Indy. I hope that made sense. Hope you got something out of that. We got a lot of initials tonight. We got KB. Folks, I'm absolutely exhausted, I have to tell you. I'm trying to keep on the most chirpy, charming, accommodating demeanor for all of you guys. But the reality is I'm on my last let's just say this is going to be the last reading. I can't handle it anymore. I would love to do another 5, another 10, but it's just not going to happen. So we'll just have to come back here again another time and try another way. See if we can get other people to get readings who've never had a reading, people who deserve a reading, people who want a reading. We'll figure it out somehow. Okay? So I'm just going to do one more reading. We're going to do KB, and then that's it. Okay? Then we're just going to hang out for a while, and we're going to hang around the campfire and just have some fun. Okay? I need to start chill. It takes me a long time to unwind after this show. And Monday is my recovery day. I keep things very quiet and peaceful on Mondays. I try to do no private readings or anything. I try to get as much sleep and rest as possible and nurture myself in very simple, elementary ways. Okay? Which is highly recommended for all of us, by the way. Allow whatever wounding and suffering that needs to surface, let it surface. You have to reveal it to heal it. I do a lot of self-healing. I have to. So if you have to, pet yourself like a little baby or like a little animal that got stuck, in a road wreck or something. And they might be dying and there's nothing you can do, but perhaps you can provide a little comfort. Comfort yourself in those ways too. Forgive yourself. Treat yourself as though you were best boyfriend and girlfriend to yourself or each other. Love yourself like a parent for a child. Baby yourself. Tell yourself, oh, you poor thing. You poor thing. You know you didn't mean to do that, but you did it. And you hurt somebody, and then they hurt you. You poor thing. Poor thing. Somebody hurt you, and you didn't deserve it. You poor thing. You poor thing. You're going to get better. It's going to be okay. You poor thing. It's going to be fine. And you can do that to yourself, and it really works, okay? You don't have to do it very overtly because it feels very strange to treat yourself with such kindness, but it does work, and you can do it in private if you don't want anybody to know. I'm just letting you know that it can be a very powerful, but very simple healing modality, all right? So it doesn't matter what your star sign, moon sign, sun sign, or anything. It doesn't matter about the tarot or anything. It's just about love and self-love. Love you first, okay? All right, KB, you're up. Did we shuffle? I think we shuffled, yes. I'm just going to do one to the last second. KB, this is it. I never did a cut like that before, KB. I let it move through my fingers like an accordion. It was very satisfying. What's the situation? What's the challenge? How are we going to deal with it? And by the way, what's the weather like? Let's just check. Ding! Hierophant. Wow. Okay. To me, this feels like, it's almost like an alarm call. It's almost like an alarm is going off. It feels like, KB. Excuse us, KB. Oh, no harm intended here. It's just that the time has come to bring order. Thank you very, very much. And we're not talking about imposed order of, let's say, that kind of order that comes from oppression and repression, about control. This is about divine order, bringing divine order into things where you become, let's say, completely married to yourself, where you start to realize there's a chance in life where there are times in life where it's really, really appropriate to really what's the kind of raise the standards on oneself, where you no longer have to operate according to, let's say, self-imposed credos or laws or ways of being that might have been imposed upon you, and realizing that there's a chance now going forward to adhere to a higher code of being, like a universal code that works for everybody. Like some people have the 10 Commandments, some people have this book or this code, or they have corporations, they have they call it a Bible, and they write out these are the 10 principles of what we do in our company. To make perfect coffee, we do this. To make the perfect cup, we have blah, and everything is done according to a master code, like a master code that trumps all other codes. So you might be feeling that this is something like that's happening in your life, where a sense of order is happening. Some people see this as a marriage card, where you're taking yourself above and beyond your personal allegiances to what's in it for me, or else what are you trying to get out of it. And it's all about like putting yourself into a situation, an environment where there is a higher purpose, a higher calling, a higher meaning, and it is an honor in order to be in that kind of environment. And it's an honor to be in that environment where there is a higher code, and it can bring tremendous relief, so you're not always having to figure things out for yourself. What's the situation? Okay, figuring things out. The energy of decisions. I think I talked earlier about this amazing person I met very recently, a professional psychic medium. So we got along very well, of course, because we're oscillating on those kind of frequencies. And she's also specializing, going into deep study at some major university somewhere about the science of decisions, because they use that in very, very advanced I guess things like science and artificial intelligence and so on. But with the Two of Swords here, it's the understanding that when it comes to the energy of decisions, you can do this or that. Most decisions usually boil down to either a string of lots of little decisions, a yes and a no, and a yes and a no, or a yes and a no, that ultimately still boils down to a yes or a no. Yes, there might be multiple options, but each one comes down to a decision. So in the end, it's like binary code, zeros and ones, like they use in computer languages, whatever. Everything is reduced in your computers, your laptops, all your softwares and operating systems. Everything is reduced to zeros and ones, and computer code writers know that. So But the thing is, with the Two of Swords here, it might be for you, KB, that you're also understanding that you have the right to decide not to decide. For example, if you're in like an energy field right now where you're becoming aware that there are higher orders, higher ways of being than just kind of like being a blob or being like a person who is programmed and raised and trained to be a certain way, and you're just living your life on autopilot. When you realize that there are higher ways of being, that can be very scary and challenging. Like, oh my gosh, am I really going to do that and be that? Am I being called? Is there a mission and life and a vision for me in my life and a purpose that could be written down as a code? And then realizing, my gosh, yes, or my gosh, no, I can accept that or I not accept that. But also because those are very profound decisions which lead to profound outcomes, then you might want to just, you might be stuck thinking like, well, do I do this or I do that? But it's okay. It's okay to be stuck. You can exercise your right to decide not to decide if you want to, because that's a very, very powerful form of defense and protection if you're not quite ready to handle this, okay? So that's okay. If you're in kind of a limbo state where your intuition, your guidance, and your connections and conversations with your angels is kind of in balance, that's okay. You have the right to decide not to decide. What's the challenge? Okay, because it might mean that you're facing deep, profound transformation that you might not actually want. You might not be ready for in terms of your three-dimensional consciousness. And yet, circumstances are indicating that big changes are coming up where you might have to conduct your life according to a higher code. The challenge is that puts you in a very awkward spot of having to make decisions, because whichever way you go, to decide to do nothing or decide this or decide that, whatever way you go, it turns into transformation. Okay, and at the ultimate level, deep transformational vibrational healing, which typically means the cutting away and removal of anything and everything that is not serving you for your highest good, which of course is a problem for a lot of people, because a lot of us are married, wedded, and bonded to our pain and our suffering and our pre-existing codes and ways of being. Okay? In other words, you know, the world according to KB, and discovering that there is a higher way of being, the world according to the laws of nature, the world, you know, where we allow for the healing power of love, we allow for our angelic presence, we allow for divinity, we allow for divine guidance and divine protection. Oh no, that's a problem, because it means letting go of any previous understandings or previous codes to which you might have been very deeply wedded and bonded and married to the point where that was your whole identity, and now having to face the idea that that's all history, that's now redundant, that's obsolete, it has to go in order for the next level of evolution to occur. That's a problem. How are we going to deal with it? Bam! This is the card of happy families, you know, like ultimate happiness, having it all in very tangible ways. So I feel that this is a living as if type card situation. How are we going to handle it? You live as if, even if you might be absolutely terrified of what is coming your way or how your life might be unfolding, and you might be quaking in your boots about what this way to go, which decision here, there, or neither. For now, it's okay. The way to handle it is let's just get to the point here, KB. There's no going back. Okay? Evolution is what it is, what it does. If you think of evolution in like geological terms, like plutonic energy, which is this energy here, Pluto energy is the energy of tectonic plates, earthquakes, volcanoes, and massive, irreversible, uh, global things that we as humans might see as destructive forces. It's perfectly normal for Earth, but when you have a massive earthquake and the tectonic plates kind of go like this, that's an earthquake. And that's just the earth being the earth. Now, if you're upset about it, that's your problem. If you're in deep pain, that's your problem. Okay, but it's irreversible. The tectonic plates are not going to stop being tectonic plates just because you don't want them. So the only way to handle it is to make the decision and realization that you got to be happy about this regardless. In other words, please, please treat this transformational experience, this evolutionary period that might be coming up for you, as a blessing, as the actual doorway and the exposure to the happiness that's, like buried underneath. Okay, so if your life is changing, perhaps meeting a new person, a new way of life with a new person, uh, in such a way that it's deeply transformational for you, please see it as a blessing, even though it might be kind of scary, because your happiness is at stake. You have the right to all of this. It's just that this degree of happiness, in this kind of situation, my feeling with this type of reading, this cannot come about unless one has the, let's say, the realization that this is inevitable, and then allowing it to happen, allowing the deep shifts and the transformations to occur so that the happiness can unfold. In other words, it's all about removing obstacles to happiness. But instead of you doing it, it is you doing it. It's making deliberate decisions to remove the obstacles to happiness. And the obstacles to happiness might be your original codes and ways of life and being that are now redundant. And the challenge, of course, is to let that go. Because, like, I'm just going to finish off in a moment, KB, but the whole idea is, like, sometimes we can become so deeply wedded to our existing codes that when we are shocked into the realization or the decisions that we're going to have to change and move on, or else our happiness is in jeopardy, it gets very scary, because you sometimes realize that your whole sense of identity might have been bound up in, like, the opposite of this, pain and suffering, all the pre-existing codes that might now be redundant. And then, so people can feel a deep sense of void and loss when they face the potential for happiness. It's almost like, I don't want to evolve. I don't want to know. I'd rather just stick the way they are with my old redundant codes, and everyone else can just live around me. Thank you very much. But the tectonic plate energy of Pluto, of inevitable, irreversible transformation, says, I'm sorry. Sorry, KB. So the only way to do it is just to handle it and accept it, that that the happiness is inevitable. It's just that it's a question of accepting it, that it is inevitable, and the only way it can happen is by the letting go and the releasing of everything that's being cut away anyway, because you don't have a choice. Okay? All right, KB, thanks so much. I hope that made sense. I hope you got something out of it. All right? So we're going to hang out, people. We're just going to have fun. Hang out, everybody. It's been a super nice night. Okay, let's put every card back. And we're going to clear the decks. We're going to have some fun. See what's going on with you guys. So maybe we can hang out and chat together. You know. Oh, Cherry, don't cry. Sweet Basil, I'm burnt out. I can't handle any more tonight. Even if you paid me $1 billion. Well, if you paid me $1 billion, yes, I would do you a reading for you. But I can't handle it right now. So if you could write to me at tarotlumination.com at the website, or send a very loud message, next week or whenever, and we'll get you a little reading. Okay, Sweet Basil, that's for you. Please remind me, all right? We'll shuffle these later. We're done. So, all right. Let's take a break. I'm so wiped out. Hope you guys are okay. It's probably very late. I know it's sometimes at night where you guys are on the East Coast. So I know. Sorry, only don't see that. This is a clean show. Little children watch this show sometimes. Where I know what you're saying. Only you can be you. It says I would do. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Please don't take it that way. Slip of the tongue. All right. Sorry. Let's change the subject. Okay, let's change the subject very quickly. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, stay there. Stay there. Hold on. Stay there. Don't go away. Don't go away. Taste Your Dreams. I'm going to put on Taste Your Dreams. Okay, here we go. Ouch. Sorry, people. Here we go. I'm going to do this one. Okay. If you wish for a simple miracle, if you wish you can have one right away, all you need is some faith, is the will. Ask for it, and it will come to you today. Hey, hey, I want you to be so happy. I want you to be your higher self. Yeah. I want you to live and die laughing. Taste your dreams today. Taste your dreams this way. Yeah. Na da 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 da. Da 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 da. If you wish to be in a state of grace, ask for it, and it will meet you face to face. And if you wish, dare to dream, you will find that it's easier than it seems. Hey, hey, I want you to be so happy. I want you to be your higher self. Yeah. I want you to live and die laughing. Taste your dreams today. Taste your dreams this way. Yeah. Oh. Da 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 da. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. La da 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 da, la da 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 da. Oh, yeah. I want you to be so happy. Yeah, I want you to be your higher self. Yeah. I want you to live and die laughing. Taste your dreams today. Taste your dreams this way. Taste your dreams this way. Taste your dreams today. Okay, well, you just had a little interlude. There's something else going on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's see. There was a little song I heard a while ago. We're gonna do this one. Let's see. Ooh.
It was one of those days where everything goes wrong. My hair fell out, my heel broke off. I slipped through my alarm. I missed the bus to night school. My stalker walked me home. I sprayed his face with mace and then he left me all alone. Tonight, I'm gonna dance my stress away until the break of daylight. You may not wanna dance with me, but I wanna dance with you. A lot of my relationships, they end up in the ditch. So I'm getting counseling for being uncontrollable bitch. The doctor's pills he gave me, they make me trip and fall. So if you are the man you say you are, you let me fall and fall. Tonight, I'm gonna dance my stress away until the break of daylight. You may not wanna dance with me, but I wanna dance with you. Fashions and manicures, and great balance and illusions, heads and backs and fancy wax, serenity substitution. What a big they need is a man who throws me off my shoulder, takes me naked in the ocean, let me win the world. Tonight, I'm gonna dance my stress away until the break of daylight. You may not wanna dance with me, but I wanna dance with you. Getting tattoos on my ass and up and down my arms could get me into trouble, leaving me rejected. Then again, pretending I'm superior like the altered. It's no guarantee that I will be accepted. Tonight, I'm gonna dance my stress away until the break of daylight. You may not wanna dance with me, but I wanna dance with you. Tonight, we're gonna dance my stress away until the break of daylight. You may not wanna dance with me, but I wanna dance with you.
Hey everybody, I don't know what happened there. I think it's Sunday night and this is a highly professional operation and we have a union crew here. They're not supposed to be here, so I don't know what happened, but I was in the Lumination restroom, in the behind the stages over there in the green room where all the talent hangs out, and I guess the crew just sneaked in while I wasn't looking. Sorry about that. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, what are we gonna do? So so I thought it might be fun. We're still hanging out here. There's a couple of people, and I know you just like hanging out just because you like to hang out. And everyone's going to go home to bed soon and have a nice week ahead, and that's great. So to wrap this out, I would like to. I feel like ending on a strong note, like more dancing, but this time where it's more like, no, I don't want to do that one. I'm running out of songs that I could play you because I'm still supposed to be recording more songs. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to keep it very simple. So you can just chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to put the song on. I'm going to put the list of the names of everybody. Okay? Fudge. I've got to mind my language here. Thanks, Mikey. We'll talk later. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I gotta tune in to what the angels say. Listen for the good news coming my way. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. Walking in circles, feeding all the birds, climbing up a mountain, looking around. Yeah, smelling all the flowers, staring at the moon. I listen to the waves come crashing down, down. Whoa, whoa, I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I gotta tune in to what the angels say. I listen for the good news coming my way. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. Smelling all the flowers, staring at the moon. Listen to the waves come crashing down, down. Walking in circles, feeding all the birds, climbing up a mountain, looking around. Yeah, I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. Gotta tune in to what the angels say. I'm waiting on the good news coming my way. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. Do 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 I'm waiting on the will of heaven today.
got a tune into what the angels say. I listen for the good news coming my way. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today. I'm waiting on the will of heaven today.
Okay, well, I can pretty much guarantee there's some names on the list that I didn't get, and I'm sorry if I didn't put you there. And I like having the names. I like having the names of everybody who showed up, and I'm sure there are names that I missed, and I'm sorry about that. Just do what we can here on this little show. But for now, we're going to close it out with our little closeout song. We're just going to hang out together. Okay? Hope you don't mind. It's just love the word. Love the word. Understand how we create our own happiness through our words, our thoughts, our words, our speech, our actions. And we can do all that, with, and invoke the healing power of love as the core energy that permeates through all of our decisions, all of our words, all of our actions, and all of our outcomes, okay? By decision.
Say the word, share the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word. Shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, word, sign the word, love the word, sing it out, sing the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, fight the word, shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, whisper the word, sigh the word, love the word, sing it out, sing the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, sigh the word, love the word, sing it out. Sing the word,
I'm just going to let it roll again. And I'm going to say thanks and good night to everybody. It's been lovely. I love doing this for you guys. I'm just going to say my farewells.
Sing the word, share the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, whisper the word, sigh the word, love the word, sing it out, take the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, whisper the word, sigh the word, love the word, sing it out, take the word, share the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hug the word, breathe the word, whisper the word, sigh the word, love the word.
So, good night, everybody. It's been wonderful. I love doing this for you, as you know. Blessings on all of you, on all of us. See you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.